Hey y'all, Ramdino here, coming at you again for another Appalachian Trail community news, Thru Hiker update, and trail information. Well, okay, I got to set the record straight from last week. When I said I'm not in Kansas anymore, that was a euphemism to this.
Toto, I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
And to this dude,
you're not in Kansas anymore.
And so, just to set the record straight, I am not from Kansas. I am from North Carolina. So, for all you folks that I totally confused, never saw The Wizard of Oz, never even saw the modern day movie, what was that? Avatar. Avatar was the name of it. Anyhow, so I'm back out on trail again on the AT, and we were hiking with, well, right now I'm hiking with Trail Boss, aka, see if I can see her back there. Where's she at? There she is. Trail Boss, aka Miss Ramdino, but that's her new name, is Trail Boss. So we are back out on the AT and hiking with Come Along and Chili Jilly, who's now just Chili till something better comes along in her hub. So, give you a quick update of the folks I know, and then we'll go back to Kansas. I mean North Carolina. So here we go. So I know that Sunshine and Mako, they are on their way to Irwin, north of Hot Springs. I know that Chili and Come Along are just up ahead of us on the trail north of Diggs Creek Gap. And let's see, 511, believe he is on his way to Irwin as well. Before we go back to North Carolina, I did have a few other folks that I want to mention who are out on trail who have made it past Diggs Creek Gap, and that is Little Chap. Got a chance to meet him at the Kentucky Crew, where everybody's licking their plates with all the Kentucky crepes that they were making, and neat to run into him. Great guy, and then he's hiking with some really good folks. Numbers, tried to call him Numberry, but I guess Numbers is going to stick with him. Puffer and Hannah were with him, so that was awesome to see them, and they are boots north, heading toward Franklin. And then also want to give a shout out to Little Chap's dad. I guess that's Little Chap Senior or Big Chap, or I don't know what it is, but anyway, shout out to him. Their viewers watch the channel, and so just appreciate y'all. And Little Chap Dad, Little Chap is doing great, having the time of his life out here. Anyhow, those are all the ones I can think of off the top of my head right now. So let's go back to North Kakalaki and we'll run down the rest of them. All right, here we go. Okay, so we are back in North Carolina. So let's go ahead and keep going with the update. So we got Crinkles and Snoop Dogg. They have gotten on the trail for their flip-flop at Grayson Highlands. Blue made it to Neal's Gap. It's just John and Trinket. They are over Max Patch and on the way to Hot Springs. Matt Johnson, he made it to Springer, as did Michael Long, and Tapeworm is in the Smokies. Moss and Mumbles, they've crossed over into North Carolina. Spotter's on the trail, and by the way, I got to meet Moss and Mumbles on the trail this past weekend, so that was neat meeting them out there. Of course, we all talked about my hiking partner and his hiking partner, Jill, but also with them is Big Peter and Lou Ann, and they are also hiking with them heading to Franklin. Last call is either in or getting ready to go into the Smokies. 511, he's crossed over the 300-mile mark. Congrats to him. Tank Top has reached Kinda Outdoorsy Hostel in Duncannon. Secretariat is our northernmost Nobo, and he has crossed the line into New York State, and probably has either seen, with a pretty day like day, has probably seen the skyline of Manhattan. So that is awesome. Radioactive and Sparky have made it to Roan Mountain and crossed the North Carolina-Tennessee border there at Doll Flats, and that is the last time he'll be crossing the North Carolina border. So he is out of North Carolina, or they are out of North Carolina for good. Mule and Inchworm are on the way to Neal's Gap, and they said while at check-in they saw a 110-pound female come in that had a pack that weighed 65 pounds. Now, there's percentage of how much your pack should weigh to your body, and 50% of it is not the correct percentage, or that would actually be about 65%, is not the correct percentage. So anyway, hopefully they culled some of that down for her. Then they also had another hiker they said came in and had a pack weight of 71 pounds, and they did a shakedown for him there at the state park, and he got it down to 51 pounds. So I don't even know what you need in a 51-pound pack, but I think he needs another shakedown. What do y'all think? And then they also had another one that came in that was like 60 pounds, and that's because the guy was doing YouTube videos and had a laptop. So trust me, you don't need a laptop to do YouTube videos. Right now, I'm recording on my camera. I'll edit, on my phone. I'll edit on that phone. I'll upload on that phone. So that is all you need when you're on the trail. Lazarus, he is through the Smokies, and he says the Ridge Runner was directing people not to stay at Cosby Knob Shelter because there was already 28 people that were there at 3 p.m. So a couple things that's telling everybody is the Smokies are backing up. A lot of folks are in the Smokies. Shelters are going to be full. Get there early because that was just 3 o'clock, and this is after the time has already changed. So you still got a lot more daylight left at 3 o'clock, and it's already got close to 30 people there. Pirate and Stormy, they have checked in at the Amicalola Falls State Park. And Aquaman, who is our first Sobo of the year, he is #1 Sobo at Harper's Ferry. So he's reached Harper's Ferry, and by now he is well into Virginia. Muppet and Gazelle, they are through the Smokies and heading on to Hot Springs. Barsh Gremlin, he made it through Grayson Highlands, and he is into Marion after being stuck in a shelter there in Grayson Highlands for a few days due to the weather. He said the temps were like, the wind chills were -25, -30, had to put a tarp up, and he also just had to keep his eye on a bear that was 15 feet away from the shelter and was trying to break into the box, the bear box there at the shelter. So even in cold weather, folks, the bears are out there, and you've got to practice good food management and keeping your smellies and things like that where the bears cannot get to them. Bricks, he should be around Hot Springs. Mr. Farnsworth, he's in the Smokies. Alias is back on trail after a week off with his girlfriend, and he is on the way to Damascus. Popeye, he's made it to Hiawassee. He's on the way to Franklin. Susan O'Donnell, she's in the Smokies. Florida Flats and Maytags, they are in the Smokies. Richard Clouser, he got on trail. Crow is on her way to the Knock. Mischief made it to Irwin and is heading on to the Roan Mountain Highlands. The Breeze, he is past Pearisburg, where he stopped in 2020. So everything in front of him now is all new territory for him. Bobby Garza, he has made it to Springer. Straps and Shatterbox, they are north of Irwin. Lost Johnny, Trippy, World Record, and Fireball, they're on their way to Fontana. Groceries had a dog bite that she got back in Helen at the Baymont, and that has healed up really well, and she is on the way to Fontana. Rodney and Rocksteady, they have made it to the Knock and on the way to Fontana. Papa Bear on his Bama to Baxter hike, he is almost to Springer on the Benton Mackay Trail. Tennessee's made it to North Carolina. Anubis, he is around Damascus, and Dandelion is in the Smokies. And I'd encourage you to go check out Dandelion's blog. She blogs for the track. And she's got a really neat story. She's a really great writer about how the folks that were there got stuck in that shelter. They were there for like 3 days because of the weather and everything. So I would go and check that out. Really good read. So we had some folks that got off trail. Patriot and True Blue, they got back off trail just because they got a call from back home that they needed to go take care of some stuff, and they were flip-flopping, so they had started at Damascus, but hopefully they're going to be coming back. Lucky Moon's off trail just till the end of March, and Keep Smiling and Walking Home, they have ended their hike completely, so they have decided that they got a grandson that's being born in 2 months, and they just decided they are all excited about being grandparents and didn't want to miss out on any of it and any of the stuff coming up to that point. So they decided that they would end their hike and go home. So that is a great reason to end your hike if you're going to end your hike. Okay, so registrations. Well, registrations, of course, are up. Not as much as they have been before, but we've got over 3,300 folks that are registered NOBO, and so we're still gaining on our flip-floppers and our SOBO folks, and our total right now is 3,609 folks that have registered through the ATC. That's up from 3,500 503 from last week, and that is up from 2021, where this time in 2021 we were at 2,980. So we are looking like we're somewhere around 629 folks that we have added since during this same time period last year. So that's pretty impressive. A lot more people getting on each year. I think part of that is just because people put it off. Of course, people got 2020 was a wash. 2021, people were kind of antsy about it, even though it was still growing from 2019. And then this year, all that pent up demand, people decided to let it out and get out there. So don't have any more stats from 2020, because this time in 2020 is when the ATC shut down all that information that they had there on their website. So they ceased publicizing that information, and you couldn't see that online. And also marks the 2-year anniversary when the ATC petitioned the National Park Service and the National Forest Service and Congress to shut down the trail and close it to all hikers. So fortunately, that did not go through, and folks that had got out there and wanted to stay on trail could get on trail, and some people got off and got back on and finished their hike. So, but we're somewhere around 1,650 hikers that have checked in currently at Amicalola Falls State Park, and the staff say they are expecting 4,000 people to get on this year. So we got a ways to go if that's all folks are going to be starting from down there at Amicalola Falls State Park. But we are at 1,650, whereas this time last year we had almost reached 1,000. So we're well over where we were last year again. And the trail is also maxed out more days than it was last week. Last week we had 27 days. This week it's maxed out for 30 days. So max being more than 50 people registered per day on the trail that are starting that particular day. And those registrations are probably not accurate, because I have gotten reports back from the hikers checking in at the state park that they were checking in 54, and as much as 71 people were checking in for a couple days in a row there. So that's not reflected in the ATC registrations, because not everybody registers with the ATC, and you're not required to do it, and the Amicalola Falls State Park does not require you to do that either. So some trail news we got out there, so be on the lookout there. And from Deep Gap Shelter moving north, there's some guy out on the trail with a spear. I got this information for some hikers coming through, and also the Kentucky crew there. So I don't know. Everybody's saying he doesn't pose a danger to anybody. He's just somebody who is not prepared and brought along a spear. There was a guy this year that brought along a leaf blower. So sometimes people bring some odd things on the trail. Weapons are typically not welcome on the trail. Leaf blowers, that could be cool. You could blow the place out there on the shelter when you get there, so that's good. But in any case, don't think he is a risk to anybody other than himself, because he's not properly prepared, is my understanding. So if you see him, please report him to the authorities so that they can track him and help him so that he doesn't hurt himself. I also had mentioned last week about putting together a Facebook page for people that are seeking rides at trail days. I have found a Facebook page for ride shares, so no point in me reinventing the wheel. It's called Trail Days Ride Board. And then also, according to Miss Janet, people will put them on the other Facebook pages as well. I would encourage everybody to maybe go to that Trails Days Ride Board and kind of use that as a central place. It's already there. I think somebody's already is an administrator for it, because they have updated to say welcome 2022 hikers and people looking for rides. So I'd encourage kind of everybody to go to the same place if they could, but no point in me making one if one's already out there. And then Whispers, our northern correspondent, he mentions that the new states, the New England states, right now are going through freeze, thaw, refreeze, precipitation, dry out, refreeze, all that mess that goes on up there. So, currently we don't have anybody in the New England states that I'm aware of So that's not affecting you right now, but if you're a section hiker up there or somebody that's thinking about flip-flopping and getting on up there, just know that the trails are going to be a mess up there, and oftentimes are extremely muddy, even muddier than what they get in Vermont. And eventually, sometime in Vermont, they will close the trails during mud season to folks getting out there on them. So just keep that in mind. Got several reports from hikers on the trail about a lot of people quitting real early down in Georgia because they had come unprepared. You know, things like obviously having too much in their pack, having too big a pack, not having the right gear, not having the cold weather gear that they needed for cold conditions, wearing a lot of cotton stuff. Cotton kills, and that's true. Just a lot of people down there. I don't have records of any of those folks quitting, but I have heard that from quite a few people. And then the National Park Service has put together a comment period, or a page you can go to make comments on their visitor use management program they're putting together for the Triple Crown. So the Triple Crown in Virginia, of course, is Dragon's Tooth, McAfee Knob, and then Tinker Cliffs. And so all those real popular areas, particularly McAfee Knob, that gets used a lot, gets used and abused and loved to death. And so they're wanting to put together some type of use management where they can cut down on the damage that's going on up there. And they want to solicit the public's, they've invited the public to put in how they feel about it. And so I'll leave the link down below where you can go and find that, and then you can put your 2 cents worth in there for that. And then the Green Mountain Brigade, they're a branch of the Royal Rangers, and every year they put together a hiker feed at Burningtown Gap, and that is coming up April 1st and 2nd. And the main reason we put that out there is, of course, most hikers on the trail are not going to go there, try to plan their hike around that, but it's also there so that other trail angels that are in the area don't go and double up, so there's not so much there, because they really do a huge hiker feed there at Burningtown Gap. And that's a good place to do it because it's all hard-packed gravel through there, so you're not going to damage any of the forest flora and fauna and everything there. So appreciate them doing that. And then Shows Up, who is supporting Blaze Dog and Tori, wanted me to let everybody know about a veterans program that they had found out about. So it's called the Traveling's Veterans Program, and apparently Blaze Dog was having trouble getting some prescriptions that he needed, and a lot of veterans, they have a home place that their home doctor they're supposed to go to, and it's really difficult when you travel to try to make sure you got all your medicines with you or what have you. And so it's difficult to get those filled somewhere else. So this program facilitates that for you. So again, I'll leave a link down below where you can find that if you're a veteran and you're not aware of it. And a lot of veterans are not aware of this. Then hopefully you'll go there and be able to get some help if you're needing prescriptions or some other type of medical help while you're out there on the trail. So I often talk about making sure we keep our trash and food cleaned up around camp, and practice your good food safety for the bears by putting your food and smellables up at night, hanging a bear bag or putting them on the bear cables, what have you. But something we don't talk a lot about, or I don't really ever talk about, is the other critters out there. So you got other critters, particularly, believe it or not, snakes that are good, in non-venomous snakes, non-poisonous snakes that are good for the environment, particularly around shelters, because they keep the mice population down. And unfortunately, I've heard where some folks have been killing snakes when they see them around there, with a rock, or they've been allowing their dogs to play with them and kill them. And so snakes are good. Non-venomous snakes are good around shelters. And so I would encourage you not to do that, and to look after the other creatures there at the shelter that help us. And then I want to give a shout out to Dr. Greg Patterson and his folks at the Brenow University, his PT students there, for being at Neal's Gap and helping folks with their injuries. They're all physical therapy students and on to get their doctorate in physical therapy. And so they're helping folks at Neal Gap with injuries and giving massages. And they're also going to be on up the trail in Tennessee. I think they're going to be in Hampton or maybe Irwin later on in the season. And they may be there also at Neal's Gap one more time. So if I find out about that, I'll let you know. But if you're hiking through Neal's Gap and you see them there, you'll know they're there. Go over there and take advantage of that. And then I want to give a big shout out and a congratulations to Fresh Ground and the Leapfrog Cafe. So he is officially now an IRS recognized 501c3 charity. So anything you give to him is now tax deductible officially. And so you can go and do that. And if you want to give to him and help him feed through hikers, and not only does he feed through hikers, section hikers, and just people that walk up in general. So he's got a heart of gold, and his mission is to feed people out there. That's his mission in ministry, and that's what he does. And so you can go to his Facebook page. I'll leave that. That link is always down below at the bottom of my description section. You'll find it down there. You can go there and give to him through a variety of means: PayPal, Venmo, send a check to an address with a carrier pigeon, whatever. That is a good way to do it. And so give to him. That is a great cause. All right, folks, that's all I got this week. As always, appreciate you, and we'll see you out there.